We're going to talk about something deep today, something you might already feel. We're talking about energetic parasites, mushrooms, and the war for your very soul. You feel it, don't you? It's that constant, kind of low-grade anxiety just humming away right beneath the surface. It's there the second you wake up, right? This vague sense of dread before your feet even touch the floor. And it follows you all day, this feeling that you're always behind, always being watched, maybe even running from something you just can't quite see. And you know how it shows up? It's in that endless scroll. You know the one. The feeds that are literally designed to make you angry or scared or jealous. It's like an addiction you can't even put a name to. This compulsion to just check and react and get into it with things that always leave you feeling worse than before. It's weird, right? It feels like your hand is moving all on its own. Your eyes are glued to the screen, but that impulse, it doesn't really feel like it's yours. And what's the result? Well, slowly, piece by piece, your most important resources are just siphoned away. Your focus, it's gone. It's shattered into a million tiny little pieces by all the notifications and the outrage. Your willpower? Totally gone. It gets exhausted trying to resist all these temptations that, let's be honest, probably weren't even yours to begin with. And your energy, that vital life force, it's just gone. Drained by people and situations and systems that give you absolutely nothing back. And what are you left with? You're left as a shell. I mean, the body is still there. Yeah, but it's like you're an emptied out husk. You're just going through the motions, basically operating as a battery for some system you don't understand and you definitely didn't agree to power. So I need you to hear this. Let's be crystal clear about it. This feeling, this complete exhaustion, this spiritual death, this is not an accident. It is a harvest. Something is feeding. And in this explainer, we're going to put a name to it. All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with that personal nightmare. Then we'll define what an energetic parasite actually is. We'll look at how the matrix feeds off this energy. And then we're going to flip the script. We'll talk about using your own consciousness as an exorcist. We'll dive into the mushroom archetype. And finally, lay out a clear path to getting your sovereignty back. So, first things first, let's put a name to this unseen thief. The energetic parasite. Okay, so we're not talking about some physical monster here. An energetic parasite, it's more like a pattern, a type of consciousness that doesn't have a physical body. And it feeds on human emotional energy. We're talking specifically about those low-frequency emotions, like fear, shame, guilt, and rage. This isn't a new idea, by the way. Ancient traditions had all kinds of names for these things. They called them archons, or demons, jinn, shadow spirits. They got it. They understood that not everything that influences us is something we can see with our eyes. And this is probably the most crucial thing to get. You don't fight these things with tooth and nail. They don't have fangs. What they have are feedback loops. They operate through these deeply ingrained patterns of thought and behavior. You could almost say they're the architects of those mental prisons we so often find ourselves trapped inside. And look, these patterns show up in really concrete ways in our lives. I mean, think about it for a second. The compulsive behaviors, right? Endlessly scrolling or always going back to an addiction that you know is just destroying you. What about that nagging little voice in your head? The one full of shame and self-doubt that's always trying to keep you small. Or those relationships that consistently leave you feeling completely drained and used up. Or even the bigger social and political stuff that seems designed to lock you into a state of constant fear and helplessness. Every single one of these is like a feeding tube, turning you into what some of the source material calls a battery for the matrix. But here's the thing. These personal patterns, they don't just exist in a vacuum. They are cranked up to 11 by a much larger system. And this is how the matrix feeds. It's actually a pretty clever, multi-layered structure, and it's all designed for a maximum harvest of energy. So it starts with world events, right? They get blasted across every single screen, engineered into these outrage cycles that are meant to trigger a massive emotional response from all of us. And what does that do? It floods your personal nervous system with stress chemicals, cortisol, adrenaline. Bam, you're in fight or flight mode. But before you can even catch your breath and recover, the algorithms, which are tailored specifically to your personal triggers, they keep you locked in that sustained state of fear and anger. And all of that collective emotion, this giant psychic storm of human misery, well, that becomes the food source for these parasitic consciousnesses. When you boil it all down, it comes down to one simple, powerful truth. Your attention is the food. The entire system is built to hijack your attention and point it towards things that drain your energy. Why? Because a drained, fearful, and divided population is a compliant and, frankly, a delicious one. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but right here is where the entire game changes. Because there is a power that is infinitely greater than any parasite or any system, and that power is your own consciousness. You are the final authority here. See, this whole feeding machine relies on one single thing: your consent. Now look, it's almost always unconscious consent. It's consent that we give away through ignorance or old trauma or just plain distraction, but it's still consent. And the very second you become aware of the transaction, you gain the power to withdraw that consent. You can literally take yourself off the menu. So let's make this super practical. Think of these as 3 protocols for energetic sovereignty, kind of like an exorcism for the modern world. Step 1, you have to name the pattern. You can't fight something you can't see. So what is it for you? Is it the self-doubt loop, the doom-scrolling loop, the toxic relationship loop? You just have to see it clearly, without any judgment. Step 2, withdraw attention. This is the absolute master key. When that pattern pops up, you have to consciously refuse to feed it. Don't argue with the negative voice in your head. Don't get sucked into that pointless online debate. Just let it starve. And then, step 3, replace the narrative. A vacuum has to be filled, so you consciously install a new empowering belief, and then you generate the emotional state that matches it. Gratitude, confidence, joy. This literally shifts your frequency to a place where these parasites simply can't feed. And to really understand this whole process of decomposition and rebirth, we can look to one of nature's greatest teachers, the mushroom archetype. This slide just lays it out so perfectly. This is the core metaphor. In nature, fungi are the great decomposers. They take stuff that's dead and rotting, and they magically transform it into new life. Symbolically, that is exactly the function we need to activate in our own consciousness. We need to decompose all those dead, limiting beliefs that have been installed in us over the years. You see how the mycelial network cleans toxins from the soil? Well, our own awareness can do the same thing, cleansing all the psychic and emotional toxins from our inner world. Now, this is why psilocybin mushrooms have been seen as sacred tools by ancient cultures for thousands of years. An intentional journey can be a massive catalyst for this kind of work. It has this incredible ability to make the invisible visible. All those little parasitic loops, the subtle ways you give your power away, they can be revealed with this undeniable clarity. The experience can completely shift your perspective, from feeling like a victim that's being fed on to embodying a state of absolute personal sovereignty. Now, the point here isn't that you have to have this experience, but it's about understanding the function that it represents. And so often, this kind of deep inner cleansing leads to a really profound realization, something echoed by the great mycologist Paul Stamets, that we're not just these isolated victims floating around. We are all part of one giant consciousness. So the war for your soul, it's really a battle for the health of the entire organism. So let's bring this all home. Let's take this incredible fungal intelligence and apply it as a real practical template for freedom. This leads us to what we can call the fungal freedom protocol. It all starts with the spore. You plant a new belief, a new intention for your reality. Then come the hyphae. You just silently observe your inner and outer world, gathering data on all the old patterns. Step 3 is the mycelium. This is where you network all those insights, connecting the dots between all the different areas of your life. And then the 4th and most active step, decomposition. This is where you consciously release those old patterns through emotional alchemy. And finally, you get the fruiting body. This is when you start to see tangible, external changes in your life emerge as direct proof of all your inner work. So the war for your soul, for your energy, for your consciousness, it isn't won with a sword or a shield. It's not won by fighting the shadows head on. It is won with the quiet, unshakable power of your own awareness. It's won the moment you finally see the loop for what it really is. The moment you choose where your attention goes, the moment you stop feeding it. In that one single moment, the war's over, and you've already won.